Not one.
Not two. Not three. Not four. Not five. Not six. Not seven. Not seven. Not seven. Not seven. Not seven.
But before we chase that seventh banner, smash that like button and subscribe right now as we kick down the door. Let's go, people. I hope every single one of you is having an absolutely electrifying day today. Welcome back to the arena, my people. Welcome home. Michael Jordan, the undisputed GOAT, is back on NBC. And this week, they were breaking down the absolute war zone that was Madison Square Garden and the mental armor he built to survive it. And as usual, to all the LeBron James apologists out there, if you actually opened your ears, you might learn something when his airness speaks. What this specific clip exposes is just how fragile, how incredibly soft this current era has become, and more specifically, how mentally brittle LeBron James truly is. So we aren't wasting another second on introductions, my people. We are diving straight into the fire. Let's dissect this footage, and I'll be right back to break it all down. The second I step into that game, the moment the ball tips off, the crowd ceases to exist. I don't hear a sound. You know, if the noise ever bleeds through or if I can actually hear the hecklers, that means I have failed to lock in on my target, dominating the game of basketball. You have to completely block out the world. Once I enter the battle, my opponent becomes the only thing in my universe. Fans are just background noise. Now, sure, maybe at the free throw line, there is a pause, and I catch Spike Lee yapping on the sideline, and I tell him, hey, sit down, Spike. You aren't suiting up tonight. You know, those little moments happen, right? But in the heat of the war, when the pressure is suffocating, that is when I get absolute tunnel vision, right? They are trying to break your focus. I take that disrespect personally. I turn it into a challenge. You know what? I am going to silence you. I am going to keep you quiet for the rest of this night. I am going to prove that all that trash you are screaming doesn't mean a thing to what I am doing on this hardwood. The only way you can stop me is if you put on a jersey and step onto this court. That is the killer instinct. That is my mentality. And as the leader, as the general, I have to ensure the squad, Scottie, Pippen, and the rest of the guys don't fall into that trap. So as the franchise player, the superstar, when you walked into a hostile environment, did you make it clear to the roster that we are going to shut this building down? Absolutely. Yes. We take the crowd out of the equation immediately. Phil Jackson preached it in his pregame speech. He'd say, we are playing in New York. Let's silence them early. Coming from Phil, you know, I was his enforcer. Me and Scottie, we were the voice of Phil's strategy in those situations. So walking into New York City, I was never afraid of the bright lights of NYC, actually. It was a privilege because if you execute, if you do what you are capable of doing, right, those New York fans will turn on their own team and start cheering for greatness. So the challenge was, let's see if I can take that hater in the fifth row, the guy calling me names, and have him chanting Michael Jordan by the fourth quarter. So what is the blueprint for walking into the Garden or any arena where you know the energy is going to be hostile? It is a massive game for your squad. What do you tell a star player about handling that pressure cooker? Be yourself. Just be you. You are a killer 365 days a year, right? Their entire goal is to make you someone you aren't. And to me, that is the ultimate test for a young kid. But it is a privilege. It is an honor. If they are screaming your name and yelling at you, yeah, that means you are a threat. You are an impactful player, right? That means they know if they can rattle you, if they can take you out of your rhythm, they actually have a shot at winning. So if I am talking to the young generation today, I say this. If you matter to your team, go shut them up. Go out there and be yourself. If you stay true to your game, they can't say a word. But if you fold, they win. All right, listen up. Recently, I heard Charles Barkley taking shots at this Michael Jordan segment on NBC, and I have heard the whispers from other critics too. But like I said, if you are actually paying attention, there is always wisdom to be gained, always a lesson to be learned when a legend like Jordan breaks down the game. So there are a few critical points I need to hammer home right now. First off, MJ says it plainly. If he can hear the fans, he isn't focused. And this is the exact issue I have been screaming about regarding LeBron James in this modern NBA circus. I am talking about a complete lack of mental discipline. And the evidence is everywhere. First of all, with the Duck, you see it constantly. The moment a fan chirps at him, oh, you better believe the Duck is going to clap back. Hey, Bron, you better get it together with that receding hairline. Look, he is mad. Look at him pouting. You are sick, man. You are too grown for that. Too grown to be crying. When does the crying stop? Never. When are you going to stop whining? You too. You shut up. Shut your mouth. It is what it is. Since you got hair, fam, put your hand to your head like that. Where is your mind? Back here. Because you need to shut up and stop crying. You lost Kyrie. You lost everything. You can't find a floor general to save your life. Zero left you high and dry. Huh? Buckle up, baby. Look at this absolute nonsense. We have watched the Duck literally demand paying customers get thrown out of the arena. Why? Because the man is soft. And let me tell you, this is the smoking gun. This is the fundamental difference right here. Because Michael Jordan laid it out plain and simple. If a fan is chirping, he wants that smoke. He wants to shut him up. Jordan said, yeah, dead ball, free throw line, I might hear some guy running his mouth in the third row. But my mentality shifts immediately to, I am going to silence this clown. That is a killer's mindset. And let me tell you, that is absolutely not the mindset of the Duck. The Duck's instinct, it's panic. It's waving down the official like, hey, ref, sir, please get this bad man out of here. I can't function. I literally cannot play basketball while he is saying mean things to me. That is what he projects. He's talking about my receding hairline. He's saying I flop. He says I have zero clutch gene. Ref, get him out. He creates a scene because his fragile ego cannot handle the heat. That is the LeBron James experience. But folks, the rabbit hole goes deeper than just thin skin with hecklers. To me, it is the circus act. The pre-game dancing. The constant crying to the officials. The obsessive self-worship on the court. All that noise strips away your focus. It proves you lack the killer instinct and the seriousness required to dominate the game of basketball. You are on the sidelines boogieing like you are at a county fair carnival, forgetting you are paid millions of dollars to destroy the opposition and deliver wins for your city. Like I said, to me, it screams insecurity. It screams a total lack of gravity when you have to throw a tantrum after every single whistle. He cannot even wait for a timeout. He is debating the refs while the ball is live. When you are crying for a foul after every layup, you are not getting back on defense. You are sacrificing the game for your ego. You know, it shows the world that you do not treat this battlefield with respect. And like I said, the choreographed celebrations, the ice in my veins routine, holding up the 3 fingers and staring at it every time you hit a shot. I know the fanboys are screaming at their screens right now. Oh, come on, let the king celebrate. What is wrong with passion? I will tell you what is wrong. It bleeds focus. It steals split seconds of intensity that separate the goods from the greats. Sometimes that nonsense costs you minutes of mental engagement. But let's pivot back to his airness. Michael Jordan hears a fan, and he flips a switch. It becomes personal. He processes it as a direct challenge, the same way he would if a defender tried to check him. Any trash talk is just rocket fuel for his engine. And again, we simply do not see that DNA in LeBron James because LeBron is not a competitor like that. He is not wired for the fight. Instead, LeBron James is on the court for the adoration. He is chasing a spotlight, not a victory. He plays to be seen. He needs the arena to bow down every time he hits a jumper. He needs the pat on the back for a basic chest pass. He needs constant validation for existing on the hardwood, which is ironic considering he spends half the defensive possession standing around with his hands on his hips. But yeah, LeBron James is not a warrior in that sense. So he doesn't see adversity as a test. And let's go there, he really can't back it up. He doesn't have the tools to punish you purely with skill when the pressure maximizes. Just because you have the physical talent to do something doesn't mean you have the psychological hardware to execute it. And again, history has shown us repeatedly that LeBron James is one of the most mentally fragile superstars to ever lace him up. Actually, scratch that. Is he even a superstar if he folds like that? He shouldn't even be in the conversation. Shout out to the real Siberius because he called it, from now on, he is negative 23. He is the photo negative of the GOAT. And people need to wake up and see that. To the LeBron fanboys, the only reason you are blind to this is because you see your own reflection in his softness. You connect with him because you are soft yourself. You are cool with promoting this weakness. You celebrate the excuses. But Michael Jordan? Jordan said, bring it on. And that is the defining theme of Jordan's career. An obstacle appears and he smashes through it. With LeBron James, the theme is removing the obstacle. This is his entire legacy, people. He doesn't conquer. He manipulates. Oh, Cleveland is too tough? I can't win here? How do I rig the system? I've got it. I'll build a super team. I'll grab 2 of the biggest superstars on earth and stack the deck. That's 2 fewer guys I have to battle. It's 3 against the world. It is a strategy born out of fear, maximizing safety over glory. LeBron James's whole career is about finding the path of least resistance. That is exactly why he ejects fans. He doesn't think, this guy is insulting me, I'm going to drop 50 on his head. He doesn't have that fire. No. LeBron James says, hey man, I cannot concentrate with this going on. Go James cannot focus with the peasants talking. It is pathetic. Get them out. Clear the room. Get these people out of my so-called kingdom, this artificial throne the NBA built just to stroke my ego. That is the LeBron James blueprint. Neutralize the threat. Do not embrace the grind. Do not look the beast in the eye and conquer it. No, you eliminate the challenge entirely. Oh, you have legends like Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra daring to push me, daring to demand greatness and maximize my potential. Who are they to question the chosen one? I am Mr. High IQ. I am taking my talents elsewhere. I am deleting the obstacle. Even with 2 rings, look at the wreckage. If I had stayed in the mud in Cleveland, I would have a legacy. If I had stayed, I would have a real home. If I had never abandoned Cleveland the first time, I would be a god there. If I had stayed in Miami with that super team and finished the war there, I would have a fortress of support. Instead, I have 3.5 rings that the critics call worthless. But the narrative is clear. LeBron James fled the scene. He ran from the accountability of the Godfather, Pat Riley. He ran from Eric Spoelstra, the man who refused to bow down. He escaped a situation where he could not fire the coach because Pat Riley stood at the door and said, not on my watch. And let us not forget the entitlement he ran because he could not get his way, his milk and cookies on a silver platter. He skipped town because the franchise refused to baby him. That is the difference. Michael Jordan hunts the challenge. LeBron James exterminates the challenge because he cannot handle the heat. Switch gears to the G-O-A-T. Michael Jordan understood that a leader is the focused edge of the blade. He admitted it. He and Scottie were the vessels, the mouthpieces for the Zen master, Phil Jackson. That is true command on an NBA floor. You are the extension of the general on the sidelines. LeBron has never grasped this concept. Why? Because in his mind, he is always the smartest man in the arena. But if you were truly a genius, LeBron, you would know that total unity beats a rogue superstar every single time. Getting everyone on one accord is more lethal than your personal scheme. Sometimes, just having the entire unit breathing as one is the only thing that matters. But because he undermines the coach, you have his media guard dogs spinning the narrative. Oh, look, he is the scorer, the passer, the GM, and the coach. They sell it as versatility. We call it hijacking the system. Jordan kept it simple. We speak for Phil. And Phil Jackson's doctrine was brutal. Break their spirit early. Take the crowd out of the game before the first time out. Come out swinging from the opening tip. This mindset is critical. It goes back to the core of the dynasty. When asked who he starts a franchise with, Phil said Jordan not for the scoring, but because he was supremely coachable. Those were his exact words. Michael Jordan listens. You can trace it back to Dean Smith and Bobby Knight legends who had the privilege of coaching Mike. They all tell the same war stories about his willingness to be led. That humility, that discipline is the secret engine of his greatness. And this exposes the fatal flaw, the softness. the entitlement of the man they call the chosen one. Or should we say, the duck, the -23, the anti-Jordan. But hold on, folks, you need to hear this. I am going to roll the tape on the final verdict. Listen closely to this clip. This is the last word from His Airness, and it hits hard. The question was posed, how do you handle the pressure of the Garden? When the electricity is different, when the enemy is at the gates, what do you tell a young star? It is the biggest stage in the world. How do you handle that night? Be you. That is it. Be you. You are that monster 365 days a year. Correct. The enemy wants to change you. That is the war. It is a challenge, sure, but it is a privilege. It is an honor. If they are screaming your name, if they are coming for your head, yes. It means you are the threat. You are the impactful player. It means they know if they can break your rhythm, they might actually survive the night. So my advice to the young killers of today, if you matter to your team, shut them up. Go out there and be you. If you stay true, they have no ammunition. But the moment you flinch, the moment you change, they own you. Jordan says, be you. That is the blueprint for walking into the fire. Now, it is rare that I break ranks with the GOAT regarding basketball philosophy. But I have to push back. Michael Jordan's advice makes a dangerous assumption. He assumes that just because a guy is wearing a jersey and cashing a multi-million-dollar check, he actually has the heart of a competitor. But here is the tragic reality. The moment you walked away from the game, the league panicked and decided to manufacture a successor to fill the void. And this marketing creation, this total fraud, has softened the NBA to its core, killing the fierce competitiveness you built until your advice sadly falls on deaf ears. So when a legend like Michael Jordan says, be yourself, we have to ask the dangerous question. What if your true self is fragile like LeBron James? In that case, maybe hiding who you are is the only survival strategy. And that is the ugly truth we have to face. LeBron James is soft, and he has infected a massive precision of modern NBA players with that same weakness. See, when Jordan drops wisdom, he is speaking from the soul of a gladiator, assuming he is addressing warriors who actually want to fight. He assumes he is talking to killers who want to dominate, but he is dead wrong. That fire has been extinguished. The problem with LeBron James is that we are watching him be his authentic self, and it is not pretty. It is a nightmare for LeBron, for his media protection squad, and for every apologist wasting their breath defending a man with a losing finals record of 4-6. The reality is that LeBron James is being himself, and that self is undeniably soft, a spoiled, entitled crybaby wearing a plastic crown. This is exactly how you end up with a grown man lying on the floor, peeking through his fingers to see if he successfully tricked the referee into blowing the whistle. You get a player who, instead of powering through contact like a titan, wastes every possession begging for a bailout call, whether he was actually hit or not. He spends more energy lobbying the officials than he does actually focusing on executing the shot. Face it, LeBron fanboys, this is your hero. This is the embarrassing spectacle your so-called king delivers night after night. He genuinely operates under the delusion that he is owed a foul call simply for the effort of tossing the ball toward the rim. In his mind, he should be marching to the line if he misses, or getting an and one if he scores, even though we all know he'll brick the free throw anyway. His entire mentality is built on the belief that the world owes him everything. That is LeBron James soft to the bone, and he has poisoned this era, breeding a generation of non-competitive superstars. But let's pivot back to the master. Once again, Michael Jordan drops absolute gold. There is always a life lesson when His Airness speaks, not just on how to dominate the hardwood, but on how to conquer existence itself. When a wall appears in front of you, you don't back down. You smash into it head on and you break through to the other side. You have to view adversity as a challenge, not a stop sign. It is never something that can't be destroyed with enough will. You find a way to win, period. But we are going to pause the action right there. Folks, I need to hear your voice in this battle. What is your verdict on Jordan's latest bombshell segment on NBC? Did he hit the mark? Do you think Jordan's iron mindset exposes the modern king for the absolute sham he is, or do you actually believe LeBron's sensitive way of handling hecklers is the new standard? Is the answer really? Security! Get them out! I cannot handle the distraction. Is that what we have come to? I can barely hit a free throw as it is. I don't need yelling. I am already turning the ball over a billion times a night. Please silence the crowd. My jump shot is broken enough without the pressure. It is pathetic. Sound off in the comments right now. I want the raw truth. You all have a legendary day, and I will see you in the next one. We are out.